This is a summary of the recommendations of AMJA's 18th Annual Imams Conference regarding the topic of Shareeah rulings for contemporary issues related to technological advancements. And the section that I'll be summarizing is the section on contemporary social issues related to technology and modern means of communication. The first issue to discuss is the ruling regarding subscribing to social media that contains some evil aspects. And in summary, the scholars of AMJA, they mentioned, the ruling concerning social media is determined by what is uploaded. If it is permissible and does not touch upon religion nor morality, then it is permissible to subscribe to it. Otherwise, it is not. The level of its prohibition will be determined by the level of its violating Islamic principles. If it is a mixture of benefit and harms, then what dominates will determine its final ruling. The second issue is, what is the ruling on a woman befriending a non-related man in the virtual world? And in short, the scholars of AMJA, they mentioned, there is nothing wrong with open, general, public communication between men and women of an educational or da'wah purpose. There's also no harm in the two communicating in a manner that is proper if there is some need to do so. They would be free of temptation or suspicion, and that the communication was not simply for talking and passing time. Also, the scholars discussed what is the ruling for a woman uploading a picture of herself in hijab on social media. And in short, they said, due to its overall benefit, permission is given to a woman with her hijab to post her picture in social media, but it must be while adhering to the parameters of the Shareeah regarding hijab, not wearing makeup, and while having a serious look in the picture. What is permitted due to need is restricted by what is actually needed. Therefore, the hijab-wearing woman should not post many of her pictures on social media, as the goal is simply for her person to be known and not to display her beauty or increase her number of followers and likes. Similarly, it is permissible for women who are qualified to give da'wah outside the lands of Islam and to attend conferences where there are males and females, and for her to give a lecture in that which she is a specialist in. That must be done also, again, with the limits of the parameters of the Shareeah. Again, not displaying herself improperly, not being soft in speech, and without there being any prohibited mixing. Next, the scholars mentioned, is there private meeting on social media? Does being alone on social media take the same ruling as being alone in the physical world? They mentioned that the default concerning the prohibited private meeting between a man and a woman is only for physical meeting. However, private speech is also prohibited when it can be a means to temptation and improper acts. And there can be exceptions when there is freedom of temptation and there is a need for such speech, and if the speech is limited only to the extent that is needed. So if a chat room or a virtual room is open during the time of the lecture and fellow students are expected to appear early and the like, there is flexibility, as there's no true privacy going on as students are coming and going. Next, they discussed the issue of pictures being sent between spouses due to a need. They also said an exception is made for pictures between spouses due to a need. However, they must be cautious about uncovering bodily parts in pictures and be cautious about these pictures being hacked into social media and so on. One needs to conceal the body parts from non-related individuals, of course, but there is no harm in a woman communicating with her male relatives without wearing hijab. Also, they discussed the issue of exchanging praise and likes and so on, and emojis and so on. So they said, permission is granted for either men or women to exchange praises and the likes for scientific and cultural achievements, as long as it is done in a customary manner. And this is done publicly, and there is nothing of doubt with regards to the communication. All right, there's no flirting or any type of exchange that is improper. They also mentioned it is not permissible to exchange expressions of emotional feelings between the genders before marriage, as they are a means to temptation and often leads one to falling into improper acts, especially in this day and age. And also, they said there is an exception to use beneficial clips, even if they contain some objectionable aspects, such as musical instruments and pictures of women not wearing hijab. The exception is if overall they are beneficial and there's an apparent need for them. One should try to benefit from the stronger good they contain and avoid the lesser evil they contain. One should strive to make the harms as little as possible. Also, they discussed the ruling on playing video games and the like. And they said, playing electronic games is from the permissible forms of entertainment as long as they do not lead one to doing something that is forbidden or to leave something off which is obligatory. And they said that one should not go